I had never heard of Western Writers of America. I had my first book, which is nonfiction. It was an anthology of my newspaper columns. I had a novel based on my grandfather's stories, which I was trying to find a home for, and a publisher in Texas suggested that they do an anthology of my columns first to kick it off. And so this is what we did. Unfortunately, they took bankruptcy 90 days later, and so I was stranded high and dry again. But there were pretty good reviews on this anthology, and it gave me the impetus to, well, maybe I could seriously write. And so that's really kind of how I got started, because one of the reviews was in the roundup of this outfit called Western Writers of America. And well, I never heard of them, but if they liked my work, I should investigate. So their national convention was being held in Oklahoma City, just 4 hours down the road that year, and I decided to go. I had already contacted the membership chairman, which was Valerie Mathis, and had been accepted before I arrived at the convention on the basis of magazine work I was doing. That was my first introduction. It was a wonderful time. Everybody was friendly. I was rubbing elbows with the people whose books I had admired so much for so many years. A.B. Guthrie and people of that magnitude, and this was, I felt probably like a dub golfer who had been invited to play a few rounds with Tiger Woods. It was that kind of an experience. Wow. I served as president in 1983-84. It was a 1-year term at that time, and I was very interested from the first, and have not missed a convention since then. But the interest is the people. It's exciting, and you kind of get your fix every year. And I think it took us a year or two to realize why this is, but I think it's because everybody here makes their living with words. So you have sparkling conversations in the hall and in the restrooms, and besides which you make lifetime friends here. You spend more time with these people each year than you do your friends at home, because we're together for nearly a solid week. And you see your friends at home maybe 2 or 3 times during the year for an evening. And so this is what really endeared us to WWA. I think the Spurs are very important. I've only won one. I have been a finalist 7 times, but my horse still goes in a circle. I have never worried about this very much, because when it comes down to the last decision, it's going to go to the more traditional. And I've been blazing the trail, and when you're blazing the trail in anything, why, you're the one out in front alone. And I was writing American Indians before it was okay to write about American Indians as people instead of faceless bad guys. So I credit that with the fact that I haven't had very many Spurs, but I have been a finalist 7 times. I think probably it goes along with the change in the generic Western, the shootout at high noon at the OK Corral, and my very first novel, I thought somebody made a mistake. It was a Doubleday, their hardcover library series, Double D Western. And mine was a story about a lost Spaniard in 1541-42. And I thought somebody made a mistake when it came out as a Double D Western. But my editor said, no, this is a trial balloon. We are trying to break out of the mold. you can only shoot it out in the street at the OK Corral so many times, and then you have to do something else. And they were trying to make some changes in different directions, and time period was one of them. And so this is how I broke in, actually, by writing something that was not standard generic Western. And there were other changes that have gone on too. The change in the quality of the female characters. I mean, traditionally, a woman in a historical or Western setting, in an emergency, she has about 3 options. She can scream, faint, or throw up while she waits for a man to rescue her. And this is not the real world. I mean, the West wasn't settled by that kind of women. And it was settled by tough women. And this was the time that the feminist revolution came along, and this was very timely and helped the Western because we can write kick-ass women, which are more fun than stupid women anyway. Well, there are other changes. The treatment of minorities, and I mentioned on that. The white Anglo-Saxon cowboy was the main character until about that time, and there have been a lot of good changes. There was some misdirection. I don't like the anti-hero cowboy. I think, well, the old spaghetti westerns with Clint Eastwood, I thought this hurt the genre, because you got to have good guys and bad guys. Bad guys and worse guys just doesn't quite cut it. And so I think this was a hindrance because the public didn't buy it. We've got to have somebody to look up to. He doesn't have to be perfect, but like in Shane, he has his faults, but he tries to do the right thing. And he doesn't always get it done, but if he's trying, we have respect for him. I hope we don't get too big. I'm a little bit nervous about that. I think that there's going to be a problem deciding what constitutes publication. I think maybe electronic publication on the internet is a great deal like pinning it to a tree in the park. And I think what we probably need is evidence of X number of sales to qualify for membership. And I don't know how it would be possible to do it, but I think it's going to have to boil down to that. Otherwise, we are enlisting wannabes that have very little talent. Of course, part of the responsibility for that is the publishing industry. They don't care very much about talent anymore or what they publish, as long as they get something out on the rack next month. And books are being treated like magazines. It's not a matter of first printing, second printing. What we're going to get out of it is probably the advance, period. And this is troublesome, but I think that the good thing that I see is that the good material, the awards are being won by the smaller regional presses and the university presses, because they are the ones who care about quality. And what we're fighting is that editorial decisions are being made by accountants in Berlin and Tokyo. And if we can hang in there and do good work, somebody's going to recognize it.